My name's Elaine Miller and I am standing as an independent candidate in the Ward 6 by-election.
What are you standing on?
Well, I've been a resident for about 20 years and I am a bit frustrated that local voice doesn't seem to be represented in the City of Edinburgh Council, and I'm concerned that we would land up being an entirely Lib Dem area, because we would potentially have 3 Lib Dem councillors and a Lib Dem SP and a Lib Dem MP, and I don't think that's good for democracy. And the Lib Dem position on the needs of women and girls does not meet what I think women and girls should be provided with.
You're somebody who has stood up for women's rights in the Scottish Parliament.
Well, I've worked in women's health for a long time.
But are you not the person who stood up in the Scottish Parliament and apparently looked as though they were exposing themselves?
Yeah, I was so cross having watched the GRR bill, the Gender Recognition Certificates changes, for years. For 5 years or so I've been involved in it, and I went and watched the actual debates and the committee hearings, and my impression is that the MSPs were not listening, and they weren't listening to evidence that I had submitted to the democratic
It was an
process.
overwhelming vote though.
It was, yes. But it's interesting that my belief is the reasons that it was an overwhelming vote is because they were voting for the party line rather than what expert evidence was. I'm a physiotherapist, so I work in women's health, which is anything to do with pelvises is my field, and that would include services for people that have got a gender difference.
What you have done about the traders in Roseburn?
I think it's shocking that they didn't get compensation.
It would have been a first had they got compensation from the council.
For that, yeah, because it wasn't the trams that were causing the loss of their business. But
it was built into the trams business case.
The reason the traders lost their footfall was because of council decisions, and that project has been delayed, and I don't think it's reasonable that some of those people will potentially have their businesses ruined.
Why should people vote for you as an independent? It would be a bit of a first if an independent was voted onto the council.
Yeah, it's unusual, isn't it? Because I'm not tied to a party manifesto, then I can listen to the people and what they want. And my grandfather was an independent councillor, but a long, long time ago. And if people's voices are not being heard by their elected representatives because what the people want and need isn't fitting in with that party's political position, then somebody that's not kowtowed would be a good thing.